The foundation of the civil rights movement in America had its origin in the church. We paid tribute to that origin by beginning our event with snapshots of the local black churches, past and present. For it was these congregations that instilled the discipline and faith our parents and grandparents needed, that led them to believe that they could stand and demand a voice. And so I begin the recollection of the history of the Hyde County boycott with Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 through 7. For everything there is a season, a time to everything, every purpose under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak. For generations, the small black community of Hyde County kept silence. In 1968, the time came to speak, and the answer was no. No to a plan for school desegregation that would systematically dismantle and close the two black schools, Davis and OAPE. During their years of silence in an educational environment deemed separate but seldom equal, the black community of Hyde County began building schools in the Bush tent era of post-Civil War America, and created a strong, structured system of education. They understood that if their children were going to be able to compete in the world, education was the key. Why then, you may ask, stand against the closing of the school if it offered integration and an opportunity for equal facilities and educational materials? Why not let desegregation happen in any form that it was presented? In 1968 and decades before, the schools within the black community, along with the churches, were the centers of influence. They created, housed, and supported the leaders of the community. The school's strong, structured discipline prepared the youth for their life beyond Hyde County. For their success beyond the county had meant the continued survival of the community itself. Of the many lessons that were taught in the black schools, giving back and helping others to succeed was at the forefront. Even in the midst of the lingering Jim Crow laws and social unrest for decades, that had been a tried and true plan. The black community knew that closing the schools and displacing the teachers and administration would leave their children defenseless and part of a school system that did not welcome them and would contain no support structure to ensure their success. The black mothers and fathers of 1968 understood that just because someone changes their mind doesn't mean they will change their actions.